go. Deep dive.
Hello everyone, come on in, gather round. Yes, we have a very special episode tonight. Now, this is the last time that I'm going to be speaking to you all one-on-one on the podcast because I wanted to clear some things first. When you're out here and you're trying to actually make it in this world and you're an entrepreneur or you have a dream and you're working on your craft or your art, you want to be clean. So the first two episodes, last week, we talked about brushes. I'm eager to hear how you all used your brushes and which ones you had to use a little bit more than others. I had to use patience pretty much from last week till this one. But we're going to talk about some things now that help us to identify ourselves and, like we always advertise this week, take your power back. I'm so glad that you guys decided to tune in, but it makes a world of difference if you just hit the subscribe button, which is right below the video, and it'll give us some traction on YouTube. It doesn't cost anything, so you just hit the subscribe button. That means that you will get feeds of all of the episodes, and you'll be able to go back and watch different ones, particularly if you come here or go to the site in the page. I'd like to start off tonight by letting you all know one very, very powerful truth, and that is that you are greater than your circumstances. I have been through a lot of things in my life, and the one thing that I had to accept as time went on is that I'm the only one who gets to interpret my experiences for me. Other people can say things, they can have their opinions, but it really doesn't affect me unless I allow it to. So tonight we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about how much we allow people to affect us. How much power do we give away? Because my definition of power is if they have influence or control. If someone can influence me with what they say or how they feel, they've got power over me. Or they can influence me when they're not even present and I put my mind on them, thinking about them. We've got a cute little skit for you that we worked up that's going to kind of define some of the things we've been advertising. So talking about power, you might have seen Jake Jacobson and Cephas J. Riley. They were longtime friends. And what happened was 3 years ago, Cephas was out walking his mule past 8 o'clock because it was dark. And he walked past the sheriff's house. And he was amazed because he had never seen such a beautiful home on all these acres of land. Now the sheriff fashioned himself as some sort of farmer, but he was growing cabbages that just would not take, so he never got a profit out of his fields and his crops. But Cephas was walking by this night, and he stopped and started looking at the sheriff's house. Now the sheriff had put in some very beautiful lanterns that would line the sidewalk all the way out to the road. Kerosene lanterns, mind you. And what happened was a groundhog ran across the road, startled Cephas's mule, and that mule started kicking and kicked over one of the lanterns, started a fire. Everything went ablaze. All of his crops got burned down. Cephas, frightened out of his mind, he didn't know if the sheriff would take him to jail. He ran and went home. Days later, he left town and said, I don't want to be around if the sheriff comes looking for me. So anyway, the sheriff gets up, they make up just in time. It didn't burn the house. And he told his wife, he said something happened. And he told her about the crops. And he got so mad because he did not know who did this. And he wanted closure. So for 3 long years, he hunted this man down, Cephas. But subsequently, a year after the crops had burned, a textiles factory came and asked the sheriff if they could build a factory on his land. And sure enough, he said yes. The sheriff started making really good money at that point. So he was like, okay, well, it might have been a good thing that the farm got burned down. But he was still on some kind of vendetta to go find Cephas and at least give him a piece of his mind and tell him how he felt about everything. But he was still pissed off. 3 years later, he heard that Cephas was coming back into town. So he put a word out. He put scorched earth tactics. He was like everything, the mailbox, the bathrooms, the parks, the feed store, everywhere. He was looking for Cephas. He couldn't find him. For 30 days, he worked diligently trying to find this man. He couldn't sleep at night. He was barking at everybody. He was so upset and pissed off all the time because he was literally reliving that experience of that loss that he had. So, just so happens, one of the saloon owners, where Cephas was going, called the sheriff and told him that he was coming down to the saloon, and if he wanted to see him, he could meet him down there and he would hold him in there until the sheriff got there. So, buzz was all around town. Everybody was like, man, the sheriff should let that go. He wound up with a textiles factory on his land. He's making all this money. Why is he still trying to chase this man? Well, nobody knows that but Sheriff Jacobson. So we pick up the story, just little snippets. It's not a real movie, but it's just little snippets of what happened when he actually confronted Cephas. We'll be back after this. All right, we are back. Was that funny or what? I thought it was totally hilarious because it actually illustrated how sometimes something can happen to you and you think it's the worst thing in the world, but it turns out to be a really, really good blessing. Almost a miracle. Because he was trying to grow these cabbages and they just were not taken. The place was stinking all the time. He wasn't ever getting any profit out of the crops. He basically gave up after a year. His wife was looking at him like, what is wrong with you trying to grow cabbages? Nobody has a demand for that. But anyway, he finally confronted Cephas, as you saw, and they talked it out. But this man lost sleep for 30 days. He was barking at his wife. He had an attitude. Matter of fact, he actually missed some calls from the textile company wanting to renew his contract, but he was so caught up in being vengeful and trying to catch Cephas, he missed the calls. It just illustrates how in our lives, sometimes something will happen and it'll be painful. It'll hurt you to your core. And it's hard to let go of it. And I don't know why we as human beings, our human nature seems to be to gravitate toward the bad stuff, the negative stuff. And we just can't shake it. I've been on stage and I've played for thousands of people, and I would have maybe 300 people come and tell me how great it was. But if one person said they didn't like it, I would not get any sleep for 2 weeks. Because for some reason, it's in our nature. I think we like playing the victim maybe, or we feel helpless in situations, so we don't really push to have a positive outcome. We almost look for the negative. But my son reminded me of something just a few weeks ago. He said, Dad, don't look for the bad stuff. Look for the good stuff. And that sparked my encouragement. It sparked my inspiration again. and I started looking for the good. And like it says in my page on the website, if you continue to sow the seeds of compassion on fertile ground, not sand, then when life has seemed to knock you down, you will have grown a soft place to land. And that's a beautiful sentiment, because throughout my life I've worked to try to be kind. I've tried to be strong in troubled situations. I learned that when I lost my mom at the age of 16, and I was so confused I didn't know what to do. But that particular event set into motion things that brought my son into this world, that brought my daughters into this world. So I've learned over time not to be so caught up with the results or my desires for the results, and to fall in love with the process. The process is the magic. We did a little thing last week, and we talked about how the treasure is hidden in the vessel. You, my friend, are a diamond. I don't care what you've been through. I don't care what you're going through right now. You are so much greater than your circumstances. What if love, in all of its infinite wisdom, decided it wanted to spread itself throughout the universe in every possible form, every possible expression it could, just to have the experience of what we have everyday consciousness? What if love supported you throughout all of your trouble in your life? What if love has always been there, just waiting for you to come back home? Because that's what we were created out of, love. And that's where we are returning to. So, we know now that we can be aware of things that we hold on to that really don't serve us anymore. Past hurts, past resentments, pains that you thought you'd never get over. But I'm inviting you to fall in love with the process and become a friend to silence. It's very rewarding. You can hear your purpose in the wind. You can hear your purpose in the waves. You can hear your connection to the Almighty. Because we always thought we were looking for God in the heavens. But somebody told us that the kingdom of heaven is within you. And that if you speak the word of faith and believe in your heart, you can have anything that you say. So if you're an artist, if you're an entrepreneur, if you are someone who wants to spread your seeds throughout the world of compassion, understanding, and helping people, just fall in love with the process. It's the journey, my friend, and we are here to encourage that. So, like I said, this is the last one-on-one that I'll be doing. The rest of the episodes will have interviews. We'll have times when I'm going to be in the field, and we're going to run some little tests and see how people respond with different scenarios. I'm excited to have you all on board, and like I said, please hit that subscribe button. Take your power back. You are the only person who can control how much energy you put toward any experience in your life. You make that decision. You decide what success is for you. You don't let, material things gain that favor. So I encourage you to look within, find that treasure, find all of those different paintbrushes that you have. And when you take the action, you're painting. And whichever one you decide to use is what you're going to throw on that day and hopefully come out with something beautiful. I'm excited to hear what you did with the paintbrushes, and I'm definitely excited to know if anyone was inspired by knowing that you are greater than your circumstances and you can rise above any situation. Hang in there, believe in yourself, and we're going to get going in earnest next week. I will be interviewing my sister, Linda Cowles, pastor, doctor. She has so many initials behind her name, but it's hard to keep up. But she has worked very hard to earn those. She's a paralegal, she's an ordained minister, she's a pastor, she's a community activist, oh my gosh, so many things. But she's decided to throw herself in the ring and do what our mother taught us, and that is help somebody that's less fortunate than you are. So once again, I tell you, you are greater than anything you'll ever face. You are a part of that love that has decided to spread itself over the fabric of time and involve you as a part of consciousness. But you're more powerful than you think, and you're more powerful than you know. And we're going to get to that power. So next week, we'll be talking to Miss Dr. Linda Cowles about her organizations, because she has several, and her children, because our families define us. I know for myself, I've been up, I've been down. in this world where it seems like up is down and down is forever, I found hope because I realized that the only person I had to take with me was, like my son said, myself. And I've been with myself for this journey. I just had to learn to love me. I had to learn to value those things that sometimes didn't really look very tasteful in my eyesight and turn them into assets. Les Brown once said that you can turn your greatest tragedy into your greatest triumph. You just have to believe. So, thank you so much for tuning in. We are going to be back next week with special guest Dr. Pastor Linda Cowles. And we look forward to you guys subscribing, please. We're going to be doing some posts. I'll be traveling soon. And I want you guys to keep up with us, okay? All right. Have a great one.